it's time to run back Nuggets Suns. Both teams winning their respective first-round series 4-1, and now they face each other in the Western Conference semifinals with a trip to the West Finals on the line. Although these teams faced off in the regular season 4 times, and both teams won twice, Durant wasn't a member of the Suns when Denver beat them prior to the All-Star break, and when the clubs clashed late in the season, Jokic was out of the lineup due to a calf injury. So what I'm saying is, you take that regular season split and you throw it the F out. Doesn't mean a thing.
I threw it out, Skeets.
Good.
I think this regular season matters the least to this playoffs more than ever.
Yeah.
Like, why even look at what happened the regular season? Most guys were sitting out. As we saw with the Heat, you don't even have to play during the regular season. Just turn it on in the last month. That's really all that matters.
And just like big moves for the Lakers at the deadline, and coaching changes in some of these teams, and no, you're not wrong.
Yeah, and I don't think Jokic was even hurt. I think Michael Malone just said, "We ain't showing you Jokic in letting you defend him." Nah.
Well, what's one thing to watch then in Nuggets Suns, which should be a high octane offense series, high octane series.
Yes, let's just watch offense. I think all the big name players got really good matchups for them. Booker versus Jamal Murray, that's going to be tough for both guys. I mean, whoever tries to take a turn on Devin Booker, same goes for Jamal Murray. Murray showed that he's looking great, 27 in the first series, and Booker showed that he's freaking excellent, 37. So KCP can run around and try and get him, but those two I think have a really, really good matchups. Durant has a good matchup against every human who's ever tried to defend him, and Jokic too. I think Jokic versus Ayton probably is going to where the series will be answered, really, because Ayton, if he does a good job defensively, and Jokic, who they're going to try and make work on the defensive end, can't do a lot there, can't board enough. That's where it will come down to, but Jokic has a lot on his shoulders, but I think he can score against Ayton. He showed it when they played 2 years ago that he could. It was a sweep for the Suns. It's a very different team with Jamal Murray back there and just a grown-up Nuggets team. But Jokic is going to have to guard in space out there against these Suns mid-range shooters, and I think he'll put up a lot of points, a lot of them, because I think he showed in the first round against Minnesota that he's got no problem now shooting 30 times a game if he needs to. So 150 to 140 every night, sure. There's going to be a lot of points put up.
What do you think?
I'm excited to see who the best player on the court is in this series. You got a 2-time MVP in Nikola Jokic. Devin Booker's probably been the best player in the playoffs so far. And Kevin Durant, when he's healthy for 2 months, looks like the best player in basketball. And those three are going up against each other. It's going to be really, really exciting. And like you're saying, Tess, there are interesting matchups on both ends. One thing I'm also going to be concerned with if I'm the Nuggets is defending pick and roll. They like to play a drop coverage. We saw when the Nuggets lost to the Suns a couple of seasons ago, mid-range jumpers to death. And that's going to be a problem if Jokic is playing and then drop, because you got Devin Booker shooting those jumpers, you got Kevin Durant shooting those jumpers, you got Chris Paul likely in the fourth quarter. They could get middied to death in this one, especially if they're going to roll out there with MPJ and Nikola Jokic, 2 of their top 5 players, 2 of their starters, but also guys who can kind of be flammable in a pick and roll situation. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Nuggets have any tricks up their sleeve for shutting down an offense this high-powered.
Yeah, and the Suns are cooking with inside the three-point line. Great stat from Schumann here in breaking down this series. In the first round series against the Clippers, the Suns took only 27.3% of their shots from 3. That is an insanely low number in today's NBA game. Lowest rate in the playoffs by a wide margin, and the lowest rate for any team in any series in the last 4 postseasons. Again, this is from Shu at NBA.com. But here's the thing. The Nuggets are actually not a high-volume three-point shooting team either. So, they took a higher rate, 36.9% in their series, but that was still the 4th lowest in the first round when you compare them against all these other teams. So, keep an eye on that three-point, line in the box score. Attempts obviously makes going to come into play. There's a bit of math involved in that one. So, who will be getting them up more? Who will feel comfortable? Who will push the team to take them more? Because we know the Suns definitely, they just want to operate where they're comfortable. That's, 18, 16 feet, and then obviously attacking the rim here. But the way the Nuggets play defense is going to be fascinating. I love this matchup so much. X factor in this?
Well, yeah, just on the maths there, I think that's what it's going to come down to. It's the Nuggets will get up more threes, but they're also going to be shooting more at the rim, so they should get easier shots. I think those two factors are in the Nuggets' favor. Those are the two zones. So the maths, although the Suns are going to shoot free throws because those dudes get fouled because they're so skilled, but yeah, mid-range versus the three and the rim, the heat maps is really what you got to be watching here.
Shout out to
in this one.
Goldsberry.
And yeah, and how much those Suns are going to play. All those starters, they play a lot because they don't trust their bench, and yeah, they are getting a little bit older. Mostly Chris Paul, and maybe Durant. Durant should be able to hold up no problem. But yeah, the depth and the numbers. Unfortunately, that's what I'm talking about. It's not fun. Not fun to talk about that. But yeah, I think all the stars have favorable matchups. They're all going to score so much, and it might come down to the gritty, more possessions where the Nuggets should have more boards, and are they the bigger team overall. And yeah, they showed that they could play pretty ugly against the Minnesota Timberwolves monstrous front line, and this is a very different front line for the Phoenix Suns. So I think it could be won there with just extra possessions.
A lot of responsibility for DeAndre Ayton in this one. He's got to try to not get destroyed one-on-one, which, honestly, good luck. Jokic whooped him in 2021, put 41, 15, and 15 on him on Christmas Day. Got to hit the glass, can't foul, because then you're looking at a Bismack Biyombo, which honestly might be a fair choice because he's a strong dude, can take some bumps against Jokic. The bench is interesting. Neither team has a good bench. They've got one guy who they can play. It's Josh Okogie, maybe, for the Suns campaign. I guess he came back. He would be helpful. And then it's Browns and Green for the Nuggets. 2 Browns, 1 Green. But the ultimate X factor is Michael Porter Jr. in this one. He's got to hit threes. He's a great shooter. We saw him make other plays down the stretch in their win in Game 5. They need him to get on the glass and rebound because extra possessions will certainly help. He's going to have favorable matchups because I imagine people will probably get hidden on Michael Porter Jr., maybe Aaron Gordon as well. And then Chris Paul, I think, is kind of a bit of an X factor here. Can he guard Jamal Murray? Probably not for an entire game. And if not, maybe he hides on Michael Porter Jr., but then Michael Porter Jr. just shoot right over him. So those are 2 guys. Whoever plays better between MPJ and Chris Paul, that could be the series.
Yeah, Michael Porter Jr., we're in sync on this one. We've been talking about it for a while. He feels like the ultimate X factor to the championship. Like if he plays at the level at times he's shown, the Nuggets could win this whole thing. He had a decent round there in those 5 games against the Wolves. 16 points, 8 boards, assist, a steal. Shot well though from 3, 42%. Basically hitting 3 a game, and they're going to need every one of those. And to the Chris Paul thing too, like where he is put defensively. Also, we saw in the series they just played, the recipe to play the Suns was like, all right, we got to let Chris Paul shoot. The guy's not on fire right now. He's obviously getting up there in age, and we got to live or die with that. But he picks his spots. He'll come through in clutch situations, but he will go cold. And I wonder, like, we'll see a little bit of that defensive strategy from the Nuggets here again in terms of like, all right, we'll try and take away Durant. We'll try our best to throw bodies at Booker and make life difficult. We've got some defenders we think can maybe do that, especially in KCP. So Chris Paul's going to get his looks. This one. I don't know where to go on this one as we get to our prediction here. I've gone back and forth on who's winning this series. Yeah. It's very possible the winner of this one, Trey, like you said in the East. Hey, is the winner of the Celtics Sixers the team going through to the finals from their conference? Could be the case here in Nuggets Suns.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
I just like the evaluating of the Sixers and Celtics. Some people just think that Embiid will get there, and I just kind of think Jokic will get there. That's part of it. I think he'll be a monster. He learned in that 2021 series where he got ejected and his team got swept that he's got to be responsible, and I think he's got a good matchup against Ayton. I think it's really going to fall down to him and him being pretty active defensively, which is a very, 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 very tall ask of him. And there's another tall guy on the other team that, we're kind of overlooking Kevin Durant to some degree. Like he could just light on fire for 40 points, but his former teammate Jeff Green's going to come off the bench and do something against him. I don't know. I mean, it's tough. The Nuggets seemingly don't have a good bench advantage, but they were awesome in round one. They kicked the Wolves bench's ass. They were the second best defense.
Short-handed Wolves team for sure.
For sure, yeah. But yeah, the double brown green compost bench
Compost
there.
bullies.
Yeah, Christian Brown, Bruce Brown, Jeff Green.
Yeah.
They did it. They got to do it again because if they don't have an advantage there, then the Suns have the advantage most likely. So it's way up in the air, but I'll take the Nuggets in 7.
Nuggets in 7, going the distance. TK, where are you leaning in this one?
It's funny when you say Jeff Green was his teammate. That's like everybody.
Right.
He's played with everybody. Chris Paul's teammate once upon a time as well. Somehow never played for the Suns, though.
Yeah, never played with Booker.
Give it time. Give it time. Jeff Green be a perfect veteran to add to this Suns team for next season, so I'm sure he'll be there. And he'll get some minutes. I don't know. This one feels like a coin flip. You've got the continuity, I guess, of the Nuggets. I guess they've been together with this same starting five or a core four of their starting five for quite some time at this point, but they haven't been able to go through it in the playoffs together. I still think that matters a little bit compared to a Suns team that was just completely thrown together and hasn't really faced a real team still to this day.
They've only lost one game, though, but you're right.
Exactly. Outside of game one, that was when they faced an actual full-strength, almost team. I mean, Paul George wasn't playing, but the Clippers looked as good as they could. Give me Nuggets in 7, which is a coward's way of saying it could go either way.
Oh, for sure, for sure. All right, I'll swerve on this one. I'm going to go Phoenix Suns in 6. I'm sort of, and we talked about it recently, like, as odd as it sounds, Devin Booker is somehow being overlooked at what he did against the Clippers that were shorthanded, missing some of their guys. But, man, this guy has done it before in playoff series, obviously going to the finals. He's playing the best ball he's ever played, I believe, the level he's at right now. There is this whole Kevin Durant factor, which, like, it is funny to say, like, we almost forget about that guy. Because the Clippers did a job of, like, we are going to make you forget about him because, like, we're going to basically trap him and keep him away from the action. And a lot of the times he's like, all right, I'll just sit over here for a lot of possessions. He would still finish with, like, 25, 30 points because it's KD and he gets it in his sleep. But I just think there's just going to be too much offensive firepower. The lack of bench, it'll probably lose him a game or two here unless, Cam Payne is suddenly back into it. He only played 3 minutes right at the end of that series against the Clippers. Josh Okogie, we'll see what he can give them off the bench, if they're continuing to start Craig, which I imagine they would. But it'll be close, but I'll go Suns in 6 in a very, very fun series. But that would, look, I think a lot of people will be picking this one in 7. Hemmen and Han, where are you going? Nuggets Suns, let's hear your prediction.